What's going on, all you Minties? Uncanny Omar here from Near Mint Condition, and join me today as I talk about 5 horror graphic novels that I've recently read. So, let's get started. And welcome back, everybody. First thing I want to do is thank our patrons for making videos like this possible. Could not be making these type of videos without you all. So in the description of the video, we always leave the link to our Patreon where people can support the channel, if you can do so. Now, these are 5 books that I've recently read, and full disclosure, I just got You Hear What Eddie Gain Did, and I'm enjoying it so far, but I haven't finished reading it, so I'm sure if I had gotten it when I was supposed to, I would have added it to the list. But anyway, these are 5 books that I've received and I wanted to read during the season and share with you all. So let's go ahead and get started, and perhaps you all can leave me some of the recent reads that you all have done this particular October or in the past Halloween's seasons. First up on the list is Trick or Treat, the Omnibus or Deluxe Edition. You can find this hardcover by searching for either of those 2 terms along with the words Trick or Treat. This is by Michael Dougherty and a bunch of other creators, and it is printed by Legendary Comics. So before getting started, a huge shout out to Darkstar916 for sending this book my way. This is an adaptation of the movie. So if you're familiar with the movies, or the one movie, sadly, because there should have been a lot more every Halloween, but if you're familiar with the movie, that's what this is. It's an adaptation of that, plus other stories. So Michael Dougherty works in here with Mark Andreyko, Fiona Staples, just to name a few of the creators in here, and there's a lot of talent that goes into these adaptations and original stories. The stories are just connected because they all take place this one Halloween night, and we meet this little character that shows up throughout the stories named Sam. And it's basically his journey, and you see through his eyes how each of these lives are affected by this particular Halloween. Now, the follow-up, Days of the Dead, those are 4 original stories that go throughout different Halloweens in history. And again, Sam shows up through all of those. And of course, Sam being the cute little pumpkin head boy that you've seen probably at stores. And if you haven't seen the movie, do yourself a favor and see it. This is definitely mature content, but I love anthology series. This was one of my favorite reads that I've had this year. It was a lot of fun to go in there and just check out a story, leave it where I was to go back to read to some Silver Age Cole or whatever I was reading at the time, and come back to this without having to remember what the heck that just happened. And also, it doesn't hurt that I was a fan of the movie. Now, you don't need to have watched the movie in order to enjoy this particular book. But if you're in the mood for something creepy, an anthology-like series like Tales from the Crypt, or Creepy, or Eerie Magazine, or Vault of Horror, this is a great book for you. Stray Dogs by Tony Fleecs and Trish Forstner. And this is printed by Image Comics. Now, I had the pleasure to interview Tony Fleecs. After reading this book, I put it down and I got a hold of him, and we talked about the making of this particular title. Now, this is, of course, mature content, and I will say, if you're an animal lover, if you can't stomach the torture or death of or just cruelty towards animals in movies, books, or comics, then please skip this one, because this is not for you. Because, well, it's a sad story. So this is a suspenseful thriller, and the less I say about it, the better you are, but I feel like I have to at least throw the pitch. And the pitch is that there's a brand new dog in this house. Her name is Sophie, and she doesn't really remember where she came from. All she knows is she was recently adopted by the owner, and the owner happens to have all these dogs laying around, and they all can talk, just to each other. No humans can understand them. It's not like All Dogs Go to Heaven. But it sort of is. It is All Dogs Go to Heaven mixed with some horror elements in there. But Sophie can't remember until she smells a certain thing that belongs to the owner, and she freaks out. And all I can say is the plan is to get the hell out of the house, because they are in danger. And one by one, maybe the dogs will start remembering and siding with her, or the others will side with the master. And it's a short story. There is another series that's coming out. It's only 2 issues. It's called Dog Days, but those are not collected in this trade paperback. This trade paperback is amazing. Probably one of my favorite, not just horror reads that I've had this year, but one of my favorite reads that I've had in 2021. I'm so glad that I saw this. I think I was in a YouTube video with a few other people, and somebody had picked up the single issues, and it was the artwork that really got me in this one, that I said, oh, I need to check that out, because the artwork makes it look like a cartoon. It makes it look like a Disney style cartoon, but oh my gosh, it's so much darker than that. 100% recommend this one. Ultra Mega by James Harren, published by Image Comics. Now I also have to, of course, credit the wonderful colors of Dave Stewart, but James Harren is the writer and the artist on the book, and even the I think he even does some of the letters. Now, this is a fun type of horror story, because not everything has to be scary and creepy and grotesque. This is just fun, even though it is freaking violent as hell. So pretty much in the future, a cosmic plague has come to Earth, and it's transforming everyday people into big, violent monster creatures known as kaiju. And if you're not familiar with that term, think of Godzilla. I assume most people are probably familiar with that term because it's just become so popular in the last 10 years. I know it's been around longer, but in the last 10 years, it seems like everybody and their mother are talking about kaiju. But that's what this is. So this virus comes and infects people, and they turn into big giant monsters. And the only thing that can stop them are the Ultra Mega. And there's 3 of them that grow into giant creatures and have Ultra Mega beams and Ultra Mega fist. And if you're a fan of Ultraman, this is the type of story. Now, there is a twist at the end of the first issue that is the hook, and I can't ruin that twist, but it is a fun twist. And I enjoyed where the story went from there. To me, this embodies what a part of horror should be. It could be disgusting, gross, because you are going to see a lot of guts, a lot of blood in this. So, if you're weak in the stomach, maybe avoid this one. You're going to see a lot of entrails being pulled and used as weapons. And damn, that's a lot of fun for me to watch, especially when it's, you know, over-the-top violence like that. So if you're into that kind of stuff, if you're into Ultraman, if you're into monster movies like Godzilla or Gamera, or if you're into Saw, I guess, because there's a lot of gross things in here, a lot of violence, check this one out. You won't regret it. It's a lot of fun, and this book does continue. This is just volume 1, collecting the first 4 issues, but again, definitely worth a check. Nocterra by Scott Snyder and Tony S. Daniel from Image Comics. Now, one thing I need to do is give a huge shout out to Dying Breed Collectors. They were kind enough to send me not just this book, but Ultra Mega and the book I'm going to be talking about next. So big thank you to Dying Breed Collectors. Now, here's the thing about this. This is Scott Snyder and Tony S. Daniel. So 2 of the creators that were working on Batman during the New 52. However, they were working on different titles. Tony S. Daniel was working on Detective, and Scott Snyder was working on Batman. They redefined the character, really, during that time. And a lot of people consider Scott Snyder's Batman run to be the definitive Batman run. So it's nice to see them break out of that and come back to independent stuff, because Tony Daniel and both Scott Snyder have done independent work in the past. Scott Snyder even wrote this book called Witches, so he's not unfamiliar with the horror realm. Now, this story is about a young girl named Val Riggs, who, through her, we get to see what has happened to this possible reality, where the world has gone dark. So 10 years ago in her timeline, the entire world went dark. All of the earth went dark. There are no stars. The sun is gone. Everything is dark. And her brother, and her parents were on their way out of the house. And they made it to some kind of sanctuary. However, people were able to turn on each other within 3 days. Through a series of flashbacks, we're able to learn that it's not just the entire earth that has gone dark, but people are being infected by this darkness. If they stand outside for more than 10 hours without having any source of light, whether it's a flashlight or some kind of light bulb or a candle, they will start turning into these dark creatures. So it's called the Big PM, is when that day happened. So it's her story and her brother, Emery, who are along for this particular possible future. And she owns a rig. So she is a delivery person. She goes from town to town delivering things. And of course, each town is lit up. That's how they can get away from this darkness. And during one of these trips, she meets this grandfather and granddaughter. And the grandfather throws her for a loop when he says, I can restore the world back and bring the sun back. So that's all I will say about this. It's got beautiful artwork by Tony S. Danielle, and the story is intriguing. The characters, I really enjoyed. I really like Val. I like the granddaughter, and I didn't want anything to happen to Emery, so it's a... They got me hooked. This is the first volume. It's called Full Throttle. I guess because it's a big truck that's riding across country to this possible sanctuary. But there are going to be more. I'm not sure how long the series is going to go. It'd be nice to see this in an oversized hardcover, but I will take the trade paperbacks for now. This is a beautiful book. Don't miss out on it if you haven't been reading it. It does live up to the hype. So it's a great read and a great breakaway from superhero books. Last but not least, The Silver Coin. This is from Michael Walsh, and it is published by Image Comics. Now, it's not just Michael Walsh because he works... It's his idea. He's the artist, he's the colorist, and he's also the letterer on some of these stories. And this is an anthology series, so each issue, there are 5 collected in here, and there's going to be more, so this is volume 1. Each issue is its own story, and they're all connected because of this silver coin. So the stories in here are written by Chip Zdarsky, Kelly Thompson, and Jeff Lemire, just to name a few. Ed Brisson is also the other writer, and Michael Walsh finishes the 5th issue. And they're all different in their own way. All they have is a, you know, they say silver coin, but there's also a crow in each story. So, for example, the first story by Zdarsky, it's about a has-been rock and roll artist that are kind of on their way out because disco is in. So he finds a silver coin. The lead vocalist and guitarist finds a silver coin and decides to use it as a guitar pick. And of course, he becomes an amazing guitarist. However, there's always a price to pay with that. The second story is about a young girl that's addicted to horror movies, and she gets to go to a camp, so she's excited. She wants to see these horrific things that she's seen in the movies. Sadly, she's picked on by all these snooty girls that, you know, don't accept her because she's weird. So, of course, things happen in that story. I believe the third story is about the people that are breaking into this old man's house. One of them takes the silver coin and starts talking to her. And the fourth story is about a possible future where there is a separation between people living outside of the wall and people living in the wall. But anyway, silver coin plays a big part in that one, and a huge part in the final story, which is kind of like a witch trial that's going on. I strongly recommend this one. I know Stray Dogs will probably be one of my favorite reads this year, but this is the one that I think people should be checking out of this video because it's a lot of fun. This is the anthology series that I've been looking for. Each issue done by a different creator, sorry, a different writer. Walsh does provide, like I said, the artwork for each issue, bringing it all together. So it's not just the silver coin and the crow. But this is what I was missing. This is exactly what we need in this day and age. We don't have a Tales from the Crypt, or anytime they try to reboot it, it just doesn't work. So I'm glad that they're doing an anthology series like this. A second volume has already been announced, and I hope they continue, and I hope they give us hardcovers of all these stories in here. But this was really good, and it varies. Now, the one thing I didn't say about this and all the other books, but just in case, every one of these has mature content, so keep that in mind. Whether it's violence or sexual content, each one of those of the books has definitely a mature rating on it. Now, if you're interested in purchasing any of these books because they're still available, check out our sponsors. CheapGraphicNovels.com, your online home for brand new graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off cover price. They pride themselves on packaging your books so they arrive safely in an excellent condition, as well as prompt and helpful service. Check out the bargain deals for up to 90% off cover price. CGN is excited to announce that they are now taking pre-orders. They're making it easier for you to ensure that you don't miss out on the hottest releases. CGN is currently running a special promotion for you minties. If you're a first-time customer, let them know that you were referred by Near Mint Condition at the checkout, and you'll receive a credit for free shipping on your next order. This promotion is valid for U.S. customers only. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discount and quality shipping and customer service that will keep you coming back for more. If you live in Europe and are interested in pre-ordering or purchasing Omnis, then you should definitely check out Walt's Comic Shop in Berlin, Germany. They have the cheapest pre-order prices for Marvel and DC big books within the EU. Flat shipping of €9.90 for EU countries. Extremely careful and sturdy packaging. Emails are answered within 24 hours. And they have a superb selection of new releases and out-of-print books on their website. Just head over to WALSHComicShop.com for more great deals and rare titles. And for a limited time, you can use the code nearmintcon, all one word, at the checkout for free shipping to all EU countries with your first order. Walt's Comic Shop, your reliable source for omnis and premium collected editions in Europe. And those were my 5 recent horror graphic novel reads so far. I love this genre, so I'm going to keep reading stuff like the Eddie Gaines story, because it's got Eric Powell on it, and of course Monsters, but I think those are so good so far that they might make it in my top 10 favorite reads of 2021. But anyway, if you've checked any of these out, let me know in the comments down below. If you've been reading anything, whether it's in single issues that will later be collected, or if you read anything in graphic novel format, please leave those down below. I'd love to check them out. Again, this was the Uncanny Omar. Thank you all so much for watching. We are on Spreadshop and Patreon. Great ways to support the channel if you can do so. And more importantly, everyone, stay healthy, stay safe out there, and keep it creepy until the 31st. Then it's Thanksgiving, at least here in America. Or is it Thanksgiving in Canada too? Anyway, bye.